Now, the Defence Secretary, Liam Fox, was unable to turn out for the keel-laying ceremony for one of the most powerful submarines ever built in Britain today. Logistical reasons, apparently. Had he been there, he'd doubtless have trailed the clack which has followed him ever since questions were first raised about the precise relationship he has with Adam Werrity, who described himself as his advisor. At the heart of this tangled tale is Liam Fox's now defunct Atlantic Bridge charity, and what, if anything, it actually did. Peter Marshall reports.
The doctor was out and about today, brisk on his rounds, saying all was well.
We're at the end stage, possibly, of the Libyan conflict. We've just had a National Security Council. I've just had a discussion with the Foreign Secretary.
The conflict that's far from ended is the one over the special relationship with Dr. Fox's best friend. We've been examining their involvement in a controversial charity. Atlantic Bridge was set up by Liam Fox to promote another special relationship, that between the UK and the US. 4 years ago, Fox installed Adam Werrity to run the bridge. By the time the charity was wound up this year, he'd been paid some £90,000. Atlantic Bridge ran into trouble with its activities during America's healthcare debate. The charity, in the eyes of a Labour Party blogger, was breaking the rules.
I first came across the Atlantic Bridge in the summer of 2009 when its members were campaigning against President Obama's healthcare reforms in the United States. And at that time they were using the NHS as a sort of case study of what can go wrong with public healthcare.
This, he felt, was right-wing bias, a notion hardly dispelled when Lady Thatcher attended a London dinner to confer the Atlantic Bridge Margaret Thatcher Medal of Freedom on Henry Kissinger. One of the bridge's former trustees still denies it had a political tilt.
Not true, actually. There's plenty who were across the spectrum. We were very concerned about that, of course, because...
Well, who wasn't politically right-wing?
Well, I'm not an expert on American politics, but yes, there are plenty, and there are plenty in Britain, too, that are, you know, from the left. For example, Lord Astor, who's not particularly right-wing, you know, was one of my fellow trustees.
My Lords, I beg
to be clear, Lord Astor is a Tory peer and a Conservative minister.
I was just very surprised to discover that they were a charity, as I was aware that charities aren't allowed to be party political. And so I started digging, and the more I dug around, the more obvious it was to me that they were a party political organisation. They described their aim as to bringing the special relationship back to where it was under Thatcher and Reagan, and all of their advisory board members were Conservative MPs and closely linked with the Conservative Party. So I wrote to the Charity Commission to alert them to my concerns.
On the advisory board of Atlantic Bridge was George Osborne, William Hague, Chris Grayling, Michael Gove and Liam Fox. In America too, the bridge people were overwhelmingly Conservative and Republican. The Charity Commission investigated. While these investigations were going on, Atlantic Bridge Inc., the American side of the operation, was mindful the whole show was under threat. When the chief executive of Atlantic Bridge Inc. extolled the wonders of David Cameron before the UK election last year, she stressed she was speaking in a private, personal capacity. The bridge couldn't be party political.
Other leading Tory ministers have come over and have made a point of seeing Democrats as well as Republicans, as indeed they should.
Are they making any headway, though?
I think so.
But who funded Adam Werrity's trips with the doctor? When he stayed in Dubai, he reportedly cited his company as Atlantic Bridge.
But this Atlantic Bridge is a transnational thing. There is another organization in the US which continues to this day called Atlantic Bridge.
But one former Atlantic Bridger in America said they'd paid not one dime for any of Werrity's travels and described the situation as a bloody mess. Amanda Bowman, who we met last year, is now running Transatlantic Bridge and declined to speak on camera today, but she did recall the spirit of what she called happy amateurism of the Werrity era. He's closer to Liam than anybody in all the world, apart from his wife, she said. It's hard to characterise their relationship, but say if you wanted a smell test on someone to find Liam's perspective, Adam was the go-to guy. The doctor, minus best friend, was all single-minded focus today. He's still holding on to his job.
I'm continuing to do what is needed at the moment, which is that the Defence Secretary focuses on defence issues. Thank you very much.
Well, that was Peter Marshall reporting there. The Times tomorrow claims that Mr. Werrity was funded by a private intelligence group to some considerable tune. The Daily Telegraph has news that Dr. Fox and Adam Werrity attended a $500 a head dinner in Washington, which was not declared. And the Daily Mirror has an extraordinary story about Oliver Letwin, the Cabinet Office Minister. Apparently he's been, he seems to be dumping confidential and secret documents, torn up, into a rubbish bin in the park. He has given us a statement tonight, apparently, in which he says that, or a spokesperson says he does some of his parliamentary and constituency correspondence in the park before going to work. Sometimes he disposes of copies of letters there. They're not documents of a sensitive nature. Well, that's it. Good night.
Hello there.